I think it is started, everyone. What's up, guys? My camera isn't working for some odd reason here. So, you guys will have to just bear with me. Let me see if I can, I gotta do a better job at this. I don't know what, is going on. So, it is what it is. No camera today. So, it's all good. Um, so I wanted to get into the, the outlook for what's coming up this week. Okay, we're going to talk about Fed minutes. We're going to talk about Nvidia earnings. It's really important big week. I've said this all week that we could start seeing some volatility here towards the end of the week, coming into Wednesday, Thursday, and even Friday. So I want to talk about a couple things that happened today. Today, as we know, the S&Ps, at least, we took a nosedive around 1 o'clock. Okay, we had, if you want to check here on whatever you use for economic data. So today we had the 2-year auction, and I want to say that was around 1. So I don't know if that, which I'm sure helped facilitate, because when we started to sell off, there wasn't much volume, and then it just seemed like there were no buyers. So then the selling kind of ramped up a little bit. We had our levels and stuff. It was a really slow morning at first, and then just before all this, around maybe 10:30 or so, maybe 10, small caps really started to go. You started to see some short squeezes. And in part, I was like, in the day, I'm like, I really don't see much. I don't want to say I forced a couple trades, but I had a couple trades that just didn't work out. And this is the thing. I was break even, if not a little more profitable because I know how they work. I'm really comfortable with being in my positions because I have a reason. I have a reason to be in them for the most part. So I'll get into this is not financial advice. These are just my thoughts. I'm just expressing out loud, putting all these pieces together that we got to piece together. Again, this is not any advice on what you should do with your money. I would suggest you go see a financial advisor. So again, this is not financial advice. So at 1 o'clock, we had 2-year treasury notes. Okay. Not 2, or we had 2-year bond. Let me find it here, just to make sure that that I'm right and I'm not telling you anything that's wrong. But I'm almost positive it was 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, 2-year note auction, and I told you guys to watch this. You guys keep an eye on these, like even the 3 months, the whatever. You'll start noticing a change, and as you'll be able to compare, and over time seeing like the later dates and the younger dates, whether they go up and then go down, like just by looking at them and kind of seeing them. As time goes on, you will start to. It's not like you have to particularly remember them. Okay, you'll see them. You'll just start to take notice. Hey, this was this last week or last month or whatever. So, 2-year treasury bills peaked, I think, at 5.9% today. They almost went to 6%. These are the June 6th through 15th treasury bills. Okay, they're seen as the most risky because, according to Janet Yellen, June 1st is the deadline. McCarthy also said June 1st is when they think that they could have a deal. So time will tell. This is not any time to be playing any games. It's really important. They have to get a deal done, and I think they will. But as the market starts rearing towards July, and there is no deal, or they're not in progress, papers aren't being passed around, there's no yeses and nos, the closer you get, you could start to see some downside. So, going into that, I want to go over some trades. I want to go over a couple things as well. So I'm gonna knock this out real quick. We have Fed minutes tomorrow. Again, this is not financial advice. You do what you do with your money. This is what I'm doing with mine. Okay, these are my thoughts as well. Tomorrow with the Fed minutes, I really don't. I'm gonna come out and say that it's probably somewhat of a non-event, and what I mean by a non-event is you'll get some volatility, but don't be surprised if we close right around where we opened or where they came out at. Like I don't see the market moving very much off of it, unless you get a surprise where they consider you it feels like they are and might consider some more raises. Okay, the way I see it is you have about a 50-50 between all the Fed members, and with the Fed minutes you'll be able to see where they're all at, who thinks what, who thinks who. So with that said, we had Powell, we've had all these Fed members kind of already come out. They've been out and about talking and whatnot. So I think personally, now things can always change by the time, because they can do stuff all the way up until FOMC. So I think personally it may be somewhat of a non-event. Okay, it's not a non-event, but I think unless there's a surprise, the markets aren't really going to move much. So I covered that. We have also NVIDIA earnings, guys. NVIDIA earnings are really important, okay, because they are the leader in the AI space right now. So you'll have to see what their earnings are, number one, but you'll have to listen to their earnings call. You got to listen to their earnings call. Now that's going to dictate that whole sector, what they do, because they're the leader. They're the sector leader. So far there's nothing like NVIDIA. There really isn't, that I know of at least, or has the has the exposure, and they're NVIDIA's just a well-known name. So anyway, they're the leader. What they say is going to dictate, going forward. You could have their earnings, and maybe their earnings aren't that great, okay? And then in the earnings call, though, maybe there's some upcoming events that are coming up pretty soon that's going to enable them to generate more revenue. Okay, so we'll have to wait and see for that. I think I think that there's so much going on right now with things like NVIDIA in the tech sector. You had Palo Alto who reported. There's just a lot, more than just the debt ceiling and whatnot. We have inflation numbers on Friday. So look, we got NVIDIA earnings. Got to listen to the earnings call. I'll be on that call, listening to it, that is. I'll be on that call listening to it. NVIDIA earnings. You have FOMC minutes. You have jobs data coming up. And then Friday, we have PCE inflation data. That's going to be important too. The Fed is going to want to see what that is. I'm pretty sure we also have Michigan, like consumer expectations, okay? So we do. Consumer expectations, consumer sentiment, okay? You got to watch that also. So there's a ton of data, and this is why again, earlier in the week and on Monday, I'm saying, guys, like I'm not in a rush. I'm going to let the market come to me. I'm going to go over a couple trades after I go over a couple charts. I haven't really done anything. I'm barely green, if not flat. So this is because I'm able to. I've done this for quite a while now. That where I can tell whether or not something's going to go my way, and I'll get into that. I'll get into all that. There was a trade that I just didn't. I tried to get into it, and it just, as soon as I noticed it, it was just kind of quick, and I didn't get the execution that I was wanting. So, and I didn't get the execution because I wasn't able to get it to get the ticker, the amount, and do all that kind of stuff. Because I kind of caught it last minute and wasn't set for it. I wasn't set up to be able to trade it. So we got that covered. So yeah, you got to watch the 2-year, guys. You got to keep an eye on these rates, especially as soon as the sooner we get to June. With Nvidia, one more time, with Nvidia, you want to see what their earnings call is like. Does it refer to possible earnings in the future? Is there a lot of things that are ramping up, and there's a lot going on right now, like with their products being in demand right now. This push, this forefront of AI, which is really awesome. This is the kind of stuff that's needed. I feel like this is the kind of stuff that helps an economy out so much. You have such a new innovation of sorts with this, and it helps a whole lot of people. There's a transfer of wealth that comes along with it. So we covered that. We have FOMC minutes. Again, I personally don't think it's going to be that big of an event, just because of the fact that we've gotten them already. So we have an idea on where their stances are. Bullard says he's okay with 50, but is he really okay with 50 or what? So I'll be watching all that. I know everyone else will be too. You do have GDP estimates coming up. I think that's tomorrow, if I'm not today's Tuesday, so yes, that'll be Thursday. I think tomorrow we just have the FOMC minutes. Fed Waller's coming out at lunchtime. 17-week bill tomorrow, 2-year FRN auction. We have some crude and oil. Information. Sorry, guys. NBA mortgage rates. So it's just going through this. And it is, I do stress this, it is important to see what else is going on around the world, to be able to kind of tie things together with what's going on over in other countries, and you see something, maybe you see a surprise or something, and you start to notice maybe a lag effect between us and them, or between another two, you just start to see things. So, and this is why I love the market so much, because it's like this. It's the next thing to being a doctor without being a doctor, if you know what I mean. You take the information that you have, that you're given, and you gotta, piece the puzzle together the best that you can. All right, and the number one thing is knowing how to read the data and what to take of it. If you're bullish right now, why are you bullish? That's leading me right now into the other thing I want to get into that nobody is talking about. The description in this channel, on this video. All right? I've been talking a lot about these companies that are smaller cap companies, okay? A lot of these companies that just came out, whether it be 2016 or 2017, 18, 19, in 2020, we had a ton of IPOs. Going forward, you really want to watch and try, and if you can, you got to do your own research like I do. You got to do your own research. Take the information that you get and you just try and piece it all together, okay? you got to watch some of these small cap companies that are highly leveraged. Okay, the way to do that is you kind of just you'll have to go through their earnings and go look. Okay, if you have access to the internet, you have access to a lot of information. Just got to make sure it's the right information. So what I am getting at is, other than the rates, the rates are the biggest thing because they cause a whole like tree roots of just sorts of things that just spread and happen. So we have banks, we have them looming. Again, I've said it before. I think the Fed has done a decent job at like kind of containing it by putting a backstop on depositors leaving and the bank having to cash out, not having to cash out of their uh, bonds. So, however it works. Again, I'm not a banker. This is not financial advice. Um, so I think that so far they've got a pretty good um, handle on things. But you take that back with Yellen that came out last week and was saying that more mergers may be needed to provide liquidity. So, you know, you got banks saying that deposit rates have went up. JP Morgan upgrading banks to a buy. Things of that. So this is the second thing that I think a lot of people aren't talking about that they should be talking about. Okay? And I hope somebody sees this that can that hasn't been just want to make sure that if the camera was working or not. Sorry. So these companies that are small capped don't have sufficient earnings or cash flow. They don't have any cash flow, let alone cash flow to cover daily business operations. Okay, what happens is you could find some of these companies needing to go to the bank and not being able to get the amount that they need, or not getting it at all. They have options of doing offerings and things of that nature, but you can have an instance where not only they're trying to make it out of the recession and continue with their daily business expenses, but they get downgraded in credit. And even if they don't. So what happens is, if there is a slowdown, which it's looking like there is, okay? There's small signs that are showing up. If their product doesn't sell, or their money is not, they're not having the same amount of revenue on a month-to-month basis, quarter-to-quarter basis, this money's going to get dry. So they're going to be working with less money, okay? Quite possibly less money, higher interest rates, and they're going to have to contend with that. And that's why you need to see if companies in time, whether it be the summer, next year, with a little time, it could happen anytime soon, and I think it might. These companies run out of money, and this is how they go belly up and don't make it out of the recession that is supposed to be here, already here, and coming in the future, whatever it is, guys. So I wanted to just bring that up a little bit, because I think it's important. I think it's really important because a lot of companies depend on banks lending, and I have a chart which Ivy League Trading, YouTube.com, Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4. We're live. Come join us. Ask your questions, comments, throw tickers, come up with a game plan, and we'll shred this market to pieces. Okay? But I have some charts I'm getting together tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I want to show you guys some charts. I just was in a little bit of a rush. It just seems like there's not enough time in the day. I wanted to bring them to you guys tonight, but I can do it in the morning. So I have some charts as far as bank lending and stuff like that, and you can see how much that it's went down. So that pretty much covers that. I'm not really worried about the Fed minutes, because I don't know if they're going to have anything that is that much of a surprise, and if there is, then okay, then I play my levels. I have my levels, and that's all I can do. You know, I take the information that I'm given, and I do the best that I do with how I feel it should be, um, how I feel I should be positioned for. You know, um, so I'm gonna get into some charts. Let me put this. Sorry. I can't believe this happened with my camera. That completely threw me. That threw me way off. That threw me way off. So I promise. I'm new at this again. I just started. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. There's a lot of stuff I see out there that's not useful to people. I want to bring a useful product to people. Okay. That is my goal. Now, a lot of people in this industry say that, but you start to as time goes on, you start to see who they really are. Okay. All right. So we covered a lot of the events that are coming up, and I mean it's in a 3 day window, guys. This is why I'm thinking volatility is going to pick up, and we saw a piece of it today at lunch. Like I said, I looked at the data and the times, and what I got was around 1 o'clock. Okay, and that was the bond auction that I was telling you about. So we'll get into some tickers. If you guys have any tickers, put them in the chat. I'll try and get through them the best that I can. I have a couple that I want to go over, and I'm going to use the futures for right now. I can go to my other charts, but they're just really crowded because I knew I was saying all week that I felt like we're going to get a pullback, so I didn't want to take these levels off and then have to go back and find them and do them again. They were already there. So, but if it helps with your viewing pleasure, I will just start with a clean chart and then go back and redo them in the morning. You know, it'll probably help my computer out, so maybe I will start doing that. All right, so we got through what I pretty much wanted to get to as far as, you know, the sentiment for the rest of this week. You know, we need some volatility. I know some people are waiting on it. I'm just really curious if this is like a failed breakout. I'm going to get into that right now. Like I said, guys, keep an eye on small caps because it seemed like today, like the market was a lot of traders, at least from the way I felt, was that traders were not necessarily worried about mid to large caps. So you started to see squeezes, you know, and then as soon as the S&Ps like started selling off, then it just switched. So it was kind of funny to watch. It was real funny to watch. You know, like I say, this was our morning right here. That was our morning right there. It was just like nothing. And then, you know, so I'll go over them. We called out a couple today. HTCR. I was looking at OCEA. And then HTCR popped up. So we'll go through with that. Now this trade I did not get in. Okay, I did not get in. It happened so quick that I was not able and set up and ready to get in it. And I did try. I tried my tail off. So why did I bring up this long here on HTCR? Okay, I want you guys to notice this is our first lesson. All right. And I'm going to get back to the large. I'm going to get back to the S&P here in a minute. All right, so you had, after this morning, like after the 9:30 and the 10. So I'm looking around. Right, let me see. I didn't get an order in, so I can't look at the time, but it was right here. I know for a fact it was right there. So here's what I saw in HTCR. All right. So it kind of popped up on me when I zoomed in, or like when I brought this up, the stock was right. It was like right here. It was flagging right there. All right. So I drew my fibs. I'm going to have to redo this. So I apologize. Let me get this squared away. I can make it a whole lot easier. Alright, so we had HTCR this morning that we called out. Alright. I want you guys, there's a couple lessons that I want to go through on this. Alright. There's got to be a way I can get this thing to, sometimes these charts, I don't know. Alright, so HTCR, it popped up on my radar. Alright. So we had this flag here that was forming. First thing I did, this is what I did when I seen this stock, okay? It was like right here. It was in this channel right here. Alright. So I brought up my fib. The old handy dandy fib. So if you guys notice, I want you guys to notice this volume, because that's what was important, okay? That's what was important. And I'm going to do the best that I can with this. I just wish I had an order so I could give you a timestamp, but it's on the live. It's recorded. I called it out. It's at 264, 346. Nope. We never got it. Alright, so I drew my fibs. We had a channel here that started to form right over VWAP, okay? We had this right over VWAP. And this is exactly what I drew out. It's exactly what I drew out. You could say it was like this. I had it like this. I had it right off that second one. I remember it. So you had this breakout, hold up above VWAP, and now already, okay, right in here, what brought me here is because OCEA was already starting. There was already some small caps starting. You had this push right there with volume through the high of the day. I guess you could consider this your initial morning high, but you know, I didn't necessarily consider it. I'm going to consider this my initial morning high of the day. Because when I turned to it, it was around 10:30 or so, and this is what I was looking at, because this is where I felt like there was indecision. So I mean, technically this is your high. I'm not going to get stuck on this because I want to hurry up, but this is your initial morning high. I just don't want people to just comment and not think I know what the hell I'm doing, but I really don't care what people think. So anyway, sorry about that. So we started forming a pennant here, and we were holding. I noticed that it held VWAP. You had this right there, this volume bar, right there, that volume bar right there. Okay, look at that, the extension out of the pennant on this huge increase in volume. You had you had your pullback and brought into the initial morning high on opening volume, guys. So this is what I was looking at, was this volume compared to the volume that is the pullback. See how low it is? All right. So this thing just stuck the trend line and just went. All right. And after this, like it was on radar, and I'm like, this thing hits the initial morning high or hits the trade line. Like the way that this hit and took off with that volume, I was pretty confident. Okay, I was fairly confident that it was going to hold. Okay, that it was going to hold trade line. Doesn't mean that it has to. So this is where I called it out, right here, at 10 o'clock. We had this pullback right into the trade line, and I said, guys, you might want to think about getting long HTCE. HTCR. I apologize. So I called that out literally right here, and as it was pulling back, I'm scrambling to get an order in and go through all that. So I'm sorry. It was this here. Anyway, in the chat, we called this out to a T. All right. It doesn't look like much, but from 260, 266, call it 270, to 343 or $3. I mean, that's a decent, nice move. That's a chunk of change. This volume. That's pretty much what I'm getting at with these small caps is you had such a nice volume. I'm already starting to see HCEA or whatever it was this morning. HCEA. Yes, it was HCEA. So once you start seeing small caps go, like you start seeing breakouts from others, okay, that's kind of giving me confidence that the other ones are that do break out with volume are probably going to, get a nice rally because the overall markets were just sideways. There wasn't much going on. So that led me to believe that, you could get, there's a chance for a trade there is what I'm saying. All right. I did try to play AMD. So real quick, the reason also that I take notice in this is because, if I am going to small caps to see what they're doing, then I know other traders are too. And you can see that here with this volume. A $2 stock with 2 million, you'd like to have a little bit more, but it's enough. There's enough liquidity there that I feel it's a trade. And that's one thing I do look at because I don't, depending on what kind of size you do, you start sizing up in some trades. You want to make sure that you're getting out without an issue, looking at the spreads and all that stuff. So we called this out. Literally right on trade line. As this thing was on the trade line, we called it out. And I thought about getting in a second move here. And then we had, it's hard for me to, I'm going to need a pull, but it's like I could have taken it. But once I've already had the opportunity to take it here, like I just can't do it. That's like me saying that I'm going to buy Moderna, which is another stock that's, had a little bit of liquidity and I think was green today. Don't quote me on the green part, but I know that it's being mentioned. So that's like me wanting to buy Moderna right now when my average was $18. I was buying it from $12 to $22, $23, $24. I don't have a position in Moderna anymore. Obviously, that thing went crazy, and you would have been crazy to not take profits. But anyway, so that's my mindset is that it's broken out, and I just, unless this thing sets up again and gives me that price, it's going to be hard for me to justify getting in, and this, I'm sure, was like, how far is this thing going to go? Because look at that volume. You still push to new highs with an increase in volume, but it could have been more so depending on what candle you look at, because I have the 1 minute up. It could have been majority of sellers too, so yeah, like see there. So second trade I'll get into real quick that I did take, okay, was AMD. I tried to short AMD on a failed breakout. It would have worked. I did short it. So I think I was using the 1 minute, I think. So we'll bring up AMD. So I was kind of conflicted on this one. And I'm going to get into why I got out, why I got in. Um, so Nvidia has a nice rally off the open, a nice rally. This is what I want to be in first off. Like I want to be in here, and I want to be selling the rip. I want to be getting out as it's ripping higher. Okay, I mean obviously you would have had to have hopped on it fairly quick. So if we go back, I'll just pull up the 30-minute chart. Okay. Now obviously, see I have this resistance level. All right, I have this resistance level drawn up here. It's been up here for a while now. So I go to AMD because I'm noticing the momentum that it has in the morning. All right, so I watch it for a little bit. Okay, I watch it for a little bit. And I start noticing this double, this pennant, and I'm going to get into this pennant too because I think it's really important because it kind of like it tells a story. Every stock tells a story on the price action. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. So yeah, it was just AMD and the SPY today. I did have a green day. That's right. I forgot about that. So it was just AMD, which was like barely green, but with commissions I was probably flat, maybe down just a tad. Let's see. Yeah, so I pretty much it was commissions and those. Wow. So nice. So we made the right call. All right, we made the right call today on the live. I hope some more people are able to get here. Like, so if you are new, what I want to stress to you is that you gotta give it time. Give it time for you to learn. Even if you've been doing this for a year, 6 months, 2 years, like the market changes. We all of us are always students of the market. So I've noticed myself that I've gotten some days I can be wrong. I will be wrong. We will all be wrong. But I have a real feel for when I'm in a position, how that position is going to go. All right. So in the morning, AMD ripped, had this huge momentum. So it's up at resistance. So I draw flag right here, and it was kind of steep. You see how steep that is? Okay. And there's not really another connection that I can make to it other than here. So like I say, all this is on the live stream recorded. You can always go to it. Okay. And I'm going to start trying to record them because I don't really have anybody on the stream. So it's like I mention it and then I try and mention that I get out and stuff like that, but there's nobody really there commenting. There's nothing really going on, so it's like hard to just keep talking by myself. But anyway, if you could, that would be nice to hit the like, subscribe, comment. I think I have a lot of valuable information that people could use. I have a lot of coattails maybe people could ride. So here's what happens. AMD breaks out. Start thinking about the long, thinking about it. But I'm like, man, so look at these tails here. Even on the 2-minute, let me bring up the 2-minute. Even the 5-minute, doesn't really matter. So the first thing I notice, right, is how steep this flag is, okay? We had a lot of volume. There was some nice volume. I wouldn't say like a lot, like for AMD, but it was above average. I mean, you had some nice volume here. Look at this buy side volume compared to the sell side volume. All right, that's just a pullback. That is just like some profit taking, not liquidation. Not sellers actually stepping in and selling a thing. So that's what that tells me. That's at least when a stock is in the middle of doing what it does, and the tape's going, the level 2's going, and the candles are going. that's my mindset. All right, we got buy side volume is there. This sell volume as it comes in on this candle here, I'm like, this sell volume is really low. There's a potential it could break. All right, here's what happens: it breaks out and it fails. I've already taken notice of this. All right, I'll give you my timestamp on my entry. All right. It was, what was it, 10:05. This is where I shorted. Right here. Okay? I shorted right here on this candle. Alright? I shorted right there. Now, could I have given it time? Yeah, a little bit. But, so as I get into this, I got in at 10:05. Alright? $10:05, I'm in. I got some puts on AMD because I think we can get a failed breakout. A lot of people get in and they start coming up with a whole different game plan for whatever reason. Oh, what if it does this? What if it does that? There's, you know, don't get. I mean, I've done it too. You know, I'm not perfect. I've done it too, but with time in the game and having a different mindset about the markets and viewing the markets differently and just not putting yourself in stupid positions unless it is absolutely like you can't get in over your skis, okay? Because you're going to say, yeah, I think there's a failed breakout. That's what your mind's telling you. Then you're going to come out with different reasons like, well, what if it holds VWAP? What if it just retests this and then it's going to go out and break new highs? Well, again, let me back up. Look how steep this is. Look at the tails. The volume was low, but look at this candle here on that breakdown. So the sell side volume did start to increase. So that was also on my mind that, okay, sellers are still up here, okay? And I was looking at the overall markets. Obviously, you want to see whatever stock you're playing that's in play. And you should be in stocks that are in play. Is AMD in play? Kind of. AI is kind of in play. All right, so I get in 10:05. I give it a couple minutes. I exit. It was like 10:08. It was 10:08. I exited at 10:08. Why did I exit at 10:08? 1, 2, 3 minutes after getting in. Instinctively, I didn't have a feeling that we would come down the VWAP, possibly break out. You know, the volume. See how low the volume was? The volume was iffy. I see this. I see this. I see this. I kind of see what I want to see. But I start seeing buying, like, even more volume buying than there was. Okay. I had the instinctive feeling, again, not that we were going to hit VWAP, go higher, that we were just going to break down this. I had a feeling that we were going to trade sideways. And I said this. I said it in the live stream as I'm in it. I said, you know what? I'm actually going to get out of this because I start thinking, I'm like, one, there's no reason for me to be in this trade. Is the stock doing this? No. The stock's not doing that. Okay. Is the stock doing this? Like, is there, in this volume getting heavier? You know, yeah, these two candles, but that's, you went, you know, so what is that, 10.20? You've went 70 cents, which isn't bad. You know, if you want to scalp it, get in, take your profits, that's fine. So anyway, I start thinking, I get out because I'm like, you know what? I'm just getting out because I don't need to be in this trade. I'm starting to think that it's going to sit sideways and there's not going to be any type of momentum direction. What showed it to me? I don't know. Was it time in the game? Possibly. So I start seeing mixed reaction, a mixed bag here. I just felt it. You know, I felt it. All right. Ended up, I was right. Look at this. I mean, it literally traded sideways. So my inclination was right. Yeah, it came down. But what's that going to do to options? I just looked at the options. They're lower. The stock went down and they're lower. So you got to know whether you want to be, you know, you got to know what you're doing, guys. You really do. You can't just say, I'm just going to trade options, because options may not be paying. Options couldn't be paying on this, possibly because there's an AI boom. the increased volatility has caused the prices of these options to be up. You have an environment that's just, not as volatile, but is still volatile. So the prices are a little up. So what that means is that they're not paying. Unless you're getting this type of momentum direction, you're not going to get paid on it. So even if the stock comes down here, comes down $2-3, unless you're short, you're not getting paid. Okay? So I thought to myself that I think this is going to trade sideways. Yeah, do I think it's going to come down? Yes, but in what matter is it going to come down? So I exited it, and my final reasoning for exiting was, why am I in this? This thing is wicking back and forth. The volume keeps changing its mind. Okay, so I got out. If, like I said, if a stock is not doing this, I don't need to be in it. You don't need to be in it. Unless you got a long-term short on or something. I don't need to be in it. It's not doing anything for me. Even if I get paid, how much is that going to pay you? Well, in fact, it didn't pay because those contracts are down now. Those contracts are down about 20 cents. Yeah, 30 cents. I'm sorry, because they were around high 70 cents, like 78 to 81 cents. And then, and now when I looked in my book to see my timestamps, they're trading for around 50 cents. I'm pretty sure. Let me pull that back up just because I don't want to be wrong here, but I'm almost positive that they are. No, maybe they are up. So they did pay a little bit. Hold on. Right here. So $1.50. Okay, I don't. Maybe that was my SPY order I was looking at. Yeah, that was my SPY order I was looking at. So I apologize. So these AMD puts when I got in were, I got in at $1.58. They were at $1.58 when I got in. Now currently, the spread on it's pretty wide. Now maybe I needed to look and see. I have a reason for what option I get in too. That's very important, knowing what option to get in. The contracts right now at close 241 bid, 250 ask. So there's a 9-cent spread there, 9-cent spread. So they did pay. It would have been a winning position, but I can't sit through the day like that because I'm sure through this you were red, and it's curling up. You get this little bit of on. What are you going to do? You're going to start thinking it's coming back to your exit. Now you're going to start worrying. I don't need to worry. I don't need to put myself through any type of worry. And I don't think anyone else does either. Because at the time, you don't know that the SPY was going to sell off at 12 o'clock also. So let's add that there. All right. We did not know that 12 o'clock the SPY was actually going to, the market was actually going to move. So, so those are the reasons. Those are the reasons why I got in. I seen a double top here. I felt a failed breakout. It's exactly what we got. But I just felt like I wasn't getting no momentum. Here, we should have, things, volume should have been increasing off of this trade line. It necessarily, look at this was the lowest volume of the day. So this is why you got to go back and review your trades. Look at that volume, guys. Look how low it is. You did get these two candles here where it attempted, to break down, but right now, if you're fighting the trend with AI stocks to the downside, you're losing. Okay, so that's another thing you need to keep in mind is swim with the tide, not against it. Okay, or the bears are going to eat you just like those fish trying to swim upstream, and you're going to get eaten. Okay, you're going to be dead. You're not going to be alive. So anyway, that's my trade today. That's one of them. I did trade the SPY, which was a nice green trade. So I am green on the day, which, I completely forgot about. Now that trade, I did have reasoning to be in. And this is what I try to keep myself in mind is whether it's the pattern, no matter whatever it is. First, number one, you want to be in stocks that are in play, that they have a news. And not only do they have news, is the news going to be worthy enough to make the stock move and move in the direction that you think it's going to go in, all right, or that you feel it's going to go in. there's a lot of other things that I use, and I'll teach you guys that. It'll be able to do it, next, tomorrow or whenever when my camera's working. So SPY. So that was my AMD trade. That was a non-event. Um, if you did get short them with the market, maybe I should have thought about that and went to AMD. But this when the market's been making moves, it's been doing it pretty quick. Like you got to get on the bus and get it before it leaves you. All right, that's what's been going on, especially to the upside. Because when it went to the upside, I was ready to dig my teeth in it, and then it was already a point and a half, 2 points, and I'm like, well, I'm not getting that because I'm not going to pay up for it only to reverse. I have my reasons for being in a trade and my reasons for getting out. And thankfully, with the time that I've had in the markets, like it's like not me thinking, it's just instinctive on what I feel is going on with the stock. I'm not going to be right all the time, but so far I've been calling it to a T. I did it with Square, I think a while back. I knew when I got in, like just from being in them for just a few minutes, I knew they weren't going to pay. And I sat through it the whole day, and guess what? They never paid. Stock went down, it never paid. So if you're playing options, you need to know how options work, and you need to know how to play them and what options you need to be in. Okay, it's very important. Or you're going to be stuck with the high spread. If you do have big positions, you got to worry about, the spread. But if you're putting on big positions like that, I would hope you're at least you have time and like what you're doing. I would assume you do. Because if I notice, like even with myself, if you start putting on too much size that you ain't ready for, and you see some numbers flipping through the screen, green to red, and you're down, money that you can't handle, you're just that's one ticket to an unhealthy lifestyle. I'll put it that way, because in this field, there's more than just going to work every day and making your money in the markets. It's a lonely profession. Number one. Number two, you do things you shouldn't do, and you think you know better, and then something happens where you take too big of a loss or something, and then you find yourself in a depression. You're not eating, you're not talking, like you're sick. And I think people should feel that like once or twice to know not to do it again. So just take your time. The market's not going anywhere. You don't have to be in a rush. Know your A setups from your B setups, from your C setups. Know which ones have the highest probability, where you can put your foot on the gas, but not too much, where you hurt yourself and get in a wreck. But you put the pedal to the floor when you need to, and then bring it back on days like today. Like right now, Monday and Tuesday, going in tomorrow, base hits. Base hits. That's all it is. You put your position on, you take your profits, you move on to the next one. You don't look for overextensions. Nothing's making like relative. Nothing has relative strength. Don't get me wrong. Some do. I admit stocks that I don't have on my chart right now, like that I don't know about. But getting back to just going over a couple charts and what I think. So I took a call. All right, I bought some calls on the SPY on that tail there. Literally right there. All right. This was my buying zone. I've already made up my mind as we're up here in the 420s that and I've been saying this all week that we may put in a $5 range roughly, But again, as soon as we get the closer we get to June and nothing is being done, then maybe that's out the window, and the market starts putting the politicians to work, and the market makes them come to an agreement a whole lot quicker. Okay. Should have and I thought about this pre-market as this is happening in the futures and pre-market, and then we open up and I'm like, are we just gonna sit in this $2-3 range? Because this is what it felt like, especially till 12 o'clock. And it's so funny that sometimes these 12 o'clock like sell-offs or rallies happen like They usually happen on a Friday or like some like weird times. We haven't had one of these in a while. You'll get a lunchtime breakout that'll just continue to the close, and we got it today. If you take notice, not sure if you're new or not, or if you're not new, like you know what I'm talking about here. If you've seen this before, where you get a lunchtime breakout or breakdown, and it just goes into the close. So I noticed there was some divergence. There's been some divergence, which is kind of good, I guess. You know, with TLT and the SPY, like the TLT's been going up because TLT's at that 100 level. You know, supply and demand, whatever you want to call it. It's been going up. You know, the rates went up, so that was probably another reason. But I didn't really check the dollar today. Haven't really been checking it. I know where the dollar's at, but I just don't see the dollar making any extreme moves like it did prior. You know, I think it would take a catalyst for that to happen. And if that catalyst were to come, I'm just playing the catalyst with the SPY, the Qs, or a stock. So, all right. Anyway, I took calls right here. Took calls right there. All right. These calls went 13, 14 cents. What did I do? I took profit, guys. I took profit. Okay. We struggled. We struggled here. All right. I was looking for a bit of a. See, we came up. We retested this level that I'm a buyer at, but I'm already in. I took this. Okay. I seen the tail. Came up. Hit the tail again. Reverse. Boom. I put my position on. Okay. In here, you did have. You know, you had this right here where it didn't get below it and it got bought back up, but there wasn't no range with it. Okay, there was no range. Like look how tall that candle is. That's almost a 3-bar reversal. If you're unaware what a 3-bar reversal is, usually you'll see this. Like the green candle would be like up here, like, and it's telling you that, you know, that's a trend reversal is likely to happen. Okay. So I was already a buyer here. What did I do, guys? I took it off right here. It only took me 2 minutes, not even 3. There's 3 bars. It took me 2. We tailed off of it. Tried to go. We did not break it. Look at the volume, guys. When I seen that, I was out. I was out. I'm up 14 cents. You know, base hits, guys. Base hits in this environment. I'm not going to play follow through until I know that I'm in a stock that has follow through, and I'm going to be selling the rip and buying the dip, you know, vice versa. If the stock's going up, I'm taking my profits as it's hitting its zones. Okay. Usually I like to have during the day, I like to have at least 3 supports and 3 resistance. I try not to get too wrapped up in like minor levels, but I know where the minor I do take into account minor levels, because levels are levers. You don't want to get in a stock and not know like this is a minor level that you're going to get pullbacks, because whether you're long or short and you get pullbacks and it starts going the other way, like that's what stocks do. That it's healthy for them to reverse course. You know, you get some traders back on the thing and it starts going back your way. You know, you got to be able to sit through pullbacks in momentum type days. This was a momentum afternoon. So, you know, I just wanted to talk through my trades and did what I did. I'm green on the day. You know, I'm green on the day. I hope you guys are too. Again, like I said, the volume was done. Look at that. You know, I should have noticed it here. You know, it took me to here to notice it, but. Like this candle here should, like, you wicked off of that resistance level or support, whatever you want to call it, and it was tough. So I took my profits. Again, this is me sensing something in the market. What happens from here that way, I don't know. I can only sense what I sense, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. The trade continues to go this way. It is what it is. I'm green. You know, if it comes up to here and it can't get through there, maybe I look for a short, okay? Or maybe it does break and we retest. Now, I'm looking for a long up into this resistance. Then I know we start getting up in here, you know, I'm looking for the long to have this this morning open act as resistance. Sometimes you got to make trading easy. You got to watch your position sizes and not get over your skis on days when you shouldn't be over your skis. Okay, it's very, very important. You will not last. You will not last in this business if you don't have an idea on what the day is going to be. First off, if you're not on the side of the trend, but yet you're fighting the trend, these are all things that are going to just tear your P&L up. And you could be good. You could kind of know what's going on, but your P&L doesn't show for it. You gotta just know what type of environment it is. You gotta take what you can get, especially if you're in a slump. Just take your small green days and build off of it. Okay, do what I'm doing. Go back over your trades, and you'll go into the days. Taking the information that you took, knowing what you did and what you could do differently. Write things down. People say just, if you take a big loss, shut your computer down, come back the next day and watch, do something. But a quarterback has a bad game, and he doesn't just take the week off, doesn't practice, doesn't get ready for the game the following week. No, you get in, you work, you figure out what you did wrong, you review it, you move on. Okay, you can't get emotionally attached. So that brings me to the SPY. We're already here. This was my level I was looking to be a buyer at, guys, to see if we could pull back and test, possibly get a nice, little rally. I've commented on this a few times. Now we have the debt ceiling, obviously, here coming up. So there's two things. I would just want to refer back to some of these streams and lives that I've been doing. I've said, can you guys feel the bullish momentum? Do you see how the sentiment had changed? And you felt like everybody was in calls and man, did I miss the bottom? Or didn't it just feel bullish? Like there wasn't still some catalysts that are on the sidelines? Felt real bullish here. So we held this. We held that whole area for 2.5, 3 weeks, whatever it was. Everybody's talking about 430. We haven't even broke 420, and people we're already talking about where we're going to the upside. I knew it right then. I'm like, everybody's talking about 430. This, it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good to plan out. It's plan out everything. I did. I have levels up there, but look what I also have. You know what I mean? So I was one of them. But recognizing that, okay? Recognizing that and saying, you know what? Usually that's the time when you want to be short. Because people have been wanting to be short this whole time. Why is the market doing this? Why is it doing that? Don't worry about what the market's doing. You just look at your chart and you do what the market tells you to do. You don't tell the market what to do. Number 2, all right? I'm going to show you guys something. This is important. I've been watching this. So you guys got to use longer, and I mean longer time frames. Okay? This is a brick wall. All right? So I'm back thinking puts. Possibly. We get the debt ceiling. They do, it depends on the timing of the debt ceiling for the market, I think, to rally. And I don't think it gets past what we call this weekly 100-day moving average on the weekly chart. Look at that, guys. That 100-day is a brick wall right now. That is a brick wall. And it lines up with what? 23.6 fib from the COVID low. You also have your gap here. You have this gap here, okay? The NASDAQ filled it. SPY hasn't yet, okay? So just keep that on watch, guys. Remember, this 100-day is right there. And you've wicked, can't get above it. You don't break above it. If you're not going up and you're not going sideways, chances are we've already went sideways. So what I'm going to suggest is these are my thoughts. This is not financial advice. My thoughts are we don't get up above that 100-day and start breaking some ground here. Hello, 50-day. Not necessarily on the weekly, but that would be a great opportunity if we did go visit the 50 on the weekly. But I think we we can't get up above that 50 or that 100-day on a weekly. I think we come down, guys. So we'll see if this is just a pullback. All right, this is the daily. The volume was kind of there, and I think it was more worries with the 2-year and the debt ceiling not getting solved, and I think it was more or less the 2-year yields rising. You know, concerns of rates, the debt ceiling, the banks possibly, and all that. You know, so name of the game is, all right. Name of the game is you want to be a buyer down here if we get it. Okay, unless volume picks up. Look at this. Look at this volume, guys. And where is the price action on this volume? Here. Here. And look at that. On that pullback there. Boom. See how you got an increase in volume there? I don't know if you can see it, but I'll bring it over. I'll expand it. You want to keep these kind of things in mind, okay? I just want to expand it so you guys can see it. My screen's it's a little wide. So look here, all right? We found a base at the 38.2 fib from the COVID low. You shot up higher, hit the trade line. You don't even really have to worry about the trade line, but that was just that was the 100-day and the 9 EMA on the daily as resistance. So look what happened when you tested the opening of this of 2 days prior. You put that open, or I'm sorry, the close of 2 days ago prior. You held that into support, and then look at that volume. Look at the increase in volume there, guys. That's important. You know, you could have went off of that, and look what happened the next day. If you were a buyer there, even the next day with the gap down, you could have said, look at that volume. The volume is increasing. You know, that volume is increasing. So that would have been a good opportunity. So you got to use things like that going forward, and how you can kind of take the past and make it the present. Okay, we can try and do that with the S&Ps real quick. Now we have a lower volume candle that was green, that we tried to get up above that weekly 100-day. All right, and a psychological number of 420. It was a psychological number. Increase in volume, small pullback. All right, back up to test it. Really light volume. So notice this increase in volume. Now we're going to see if tomorrow. So we have 3 days left. Does tomorrow bring in a nice higher volume candle? Just about equal to, and what is it, green or red? So if it's red, then you could probably see Friday, depending on the numbers and everything. You just want to look at things like that. Look at the selling. Look at this candle here. Okay, it's greater than what we had on this long candle there. So right now, and look at that. Right now, just going over this, you have more selling than you do buying. All right, the sell side is winning the battle right now. There's just more contenders. All right, so we'll think about that. You know, think about that going into tomorrow, Thursday, and then the Friday. Just remember, see if you don't find support here, and try and run out, which I don't know if we do, because that 100-day is a brick wall. I mean, look how far away the 50 is, and I'm on the daily, right? Look how far away the 50, the 100, and 200 is. So maybe we got over our skis here, you know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe we get a surprise with FOMC minutes. Maybe we get a surprise with some of this data. So that's really what I wanted to go over. I had a couple stocks. I mean, you can watch Palo Alto. There's not really anybody on, nobody throwing in tickers, so I'll probably end it at that. Check in tomorrow. ivyleagueyoutube.com. 7:30 to 4. I may be on sooner. I got some charts I want to go over, as far as like some charts with like banking withdrawals, or like bank lending and stuff like that. So I'm excited for this week, because I knew it coming into the week that I was looking for Thursday and Friday. Those were the 2 days. So Now that we had what we had today, I want to see what brings tomorrow, and the Thursday, and the Friday. We were getting glimpses of some volatility. So the SPY is trying to hold up here. I think going into tomorrow, the S&Ps and the indexes, they might be flat somewhat, just waiting for the FOMC minutes, unless something is said for the debt ceiling. Again, that's your headline risk. We already know what the Fed, we have an idea, I should say. They've all been out talking, so you already pretty much have your minutes, the notes. So the market might be a tad quiet, unless there's some debt ceiling news. Ramps up in the afternoon around 2. Keep your eye on small caps, guys. Keep your eye on news in the morning. Make sure, you do what you want. This is not financial advice, but this is what I do. I want to make sure I am in stocks that are in play, all right? You got to be in stocks that are in play. Put yourself on the right side of probability, okay? You need a news catalyst. You need something for that stock to be moving in a direction. At least have the catalyst of a news headline to help with that, okay? I'm going to wrap it up with that. You guys have a good night. Stay green. Stay healthy, stay green, and I will see you all tomorrow morning, 7:30, bright and early. Just be ready, guys. Be ready. Be ready. Get your game face on. There's a volatility. It's here. It just peaked its head out today. So just be ready. Know your moves. Okay, plan your moves. Go through your charts. Put in the work. Be a better person tomorrow. All right, guys. I'll see you all in the morning.